The world outside has fallen silent, draped in a thick, unforgiving blanket of white. Snow, driven by a relentless wind, has piled against the windows for days, sealing the small house away from a world that has ceased to function. The power lines, heavy with ice, snapped 3 days ago, plunging the landscape into a profound darkness and an even more profound cold. Inside, a family huddles together, their breath misting in the air. The temperature within the walls is plummeting, mirroring the brutal reality outside. Every blanket has been pulled from the cupboards, every layer of clothing has been donned, yet the chill seeps relentlessly through the floorboards and past the window panes, a silent, invisible predator. This is not a scene from a distant past. It is a potential future, a scenario that grows more plausible with each passing year as our complex systems become more fragile. When the grid fails, when the hum of modern life is replaced by the howl of the wind, our survival hinges on the most basic of needs: warmth. Without a reliable source of heat, the human body quickly succumbs to the cold. Hypothermia is a quiet, insidious threat that clouds judgment and drains energy until there is nothing left. In this high-stakes battle against the elements, the tools we choose to rely on can mean the difference between enduring the storm and being consumed by it. Our ancestors understood this battle intimately. For countless generations, they devised ingenious ways to harness the power of fire, not just for a fleeting moment of comfort, but for sustained, life-giving warmth. They knew that a simple flame was not enough. The heat had to be captured, stored, and released slowly and gently. They built structures that became the very heart of the home, a bastion against the planet's harshest climates. We are about to rediscover one of their most remarkable creations, a piece of ancient technology so effective, so efficient, that it holds the key to surviving the modern world's most challenging crises. This journey will take us back in time to the vast frozen landscapes of Eastern Europe. We will explore a heating system born not of convenience, but of absolute necessity. It is an invention that challenges our modern assumptions about warmth and efficiency. It is a secret that has been hiding in plain sight, a structure of brick and mortar that could, quite literally, save your life. We will uncover the principles behind its design, understand why it fell out of favour, and learn how its revival might be one of the most important steps we can take toward true self-sufficiency and resilience in an uncertain world. Many people facing a winter emergency would turn to a familiar sight: the modern metalwood stove. These freestanding iron or steel boxes are a common feature in rural homes and cabins, promising a rustic charm and a defence against the cold. When the power goes out, the first instinct is to feed the stove, to build a roaring fire that pushes back the encroaching chill. For a short while, it works. The area directly in front of the stove becomes intensely, almost uncomfortably hot. You can see the heat shimmering in the air, a visible wave of warmth that provides immediate, desperate relief from the biting cold that has settled into the room. However, this initial comfort is deceptive. The metal box heats up very quickly, but it also cools down just as fast. The heat it produces is primarily convective. It heats the air directly around it, which then rises to the ceiling. This creates an unpleasant and inefficient cycle of hot air high up and cold air pooling at your feet. The intense, direct heat can be scorching if you are too close, yet just a few meters away, the room remains stubbornly cold. This uneven heating forces the family to huddle in a small, overheated zone, while the rest of the house feels like an icebox. It is a fleeting solution that addresses the symptom, not the cause. The greatest flaw of the metal stove is its insatiable appetite for fuel. To keep that bubble of warmth from collapsing, the fire must be fed constantly. This means frequent trips out into the biting cold to gather more wood, a chore that becomes more dangerous and draining as the storm rages on. The stove demands attention every hour or two, even through the night. Someone must always be awake, always vigilant, to stoke the flames and add another log. A night of restful sleep becomes an impossibility. The moment the fire dies down to embers, the metal cools, and the predatory cold seeps back into the room with alarming speed. This inefficiency is not just inconvenient, it is wasteful and dangerous in a long-term survival scenario. A vast amount of the fire's energy is lost directly up the chimney. The hot gases, which contain a huge percentage of the wood's potential heat, are vented straight outside. You can often see this wasted energy as a thick plume of smoke, which is essentially unburnt fuel. This means you are burning through your precious wood supply at an astonishing rate for only a fraction of its potential benefit. In a prolonged crisis where fuel is finite, this is a critical and potentially fatal design flaw. Long before the advent of thin-walled metal stoves, people living in the harshest climates on Earth perfected a far superior technology. In the vast territories of Russia and across northern Europe, they developed the masonry heater, known in Russian as the Russkaya Pech. This was not merely a stove, it was a monumental structure, the functional and spiritual centre of the home. Often weighing several tons, these heaters were built from brick, clay, stone and mortar. They were massive, solid, and designed with a deep understanding of how fire and heat truly work. Their purpose was not to provide a quick blast of heat, but to create a stable, enduring and gentle warmth that would last for many hours or even days. The history of the masonry heater is a history of survival. Its design evolved over centuries, refined by generations who faced brutal winters without any form of modern assistance. Early versions were simple clay ovens, but by the 18th century the design had been perfected into a highly efficient, multi-purpose appliance. A masonry heater could warm the entire home, cook meals, bake bread, dry clothes, and even provide a warm sleeping surface, a built-in ledge known as a polati. For the people who depended on it, the Pech was life itself. It was a fortress of warmth against the relentless Siberian cold, a symbol of security and sustenance. The secret to the masonry heater's incredible performance lies in its complex internal design. Unlike a metal stove that vents hot gas straight up a chimney, a masonry heater forces the smoke and hot gases from the fire to travel through a long, winding labyrinth of channels and baffles within its massive core. This serpentine path dramatically slows the exit of the gases, giving them time to transfer the vast majority of their heat energy into the surrounding brick and stone. The fire itself is burned very hot and very fast, in a short burst, which ensures complete combustion and very little smoke. Once the fire is out, the magic truly begins. The immense mass of the heater, now saturated with stored heat, begins to slowly and gently radiate that warmth back into the living space. The entire surface of the heater becomes a single large, mild radiator. There are no hot spots, no cold drafts. It provides a constant, comfortable and pervasive warmth that feels entirely different from the harsh, dry heat of a metal stove. This single short fire can provide steady, reliable heat for 12, 24, or even 36 hours, transforming the home into a sanctuary of stable comfort, regardless of the fury of the storm outside. To truly appreciate the genius of the masonry heater, we must understand two simple but powerful scientific principles: thermal mass and radiant heat. Thermal mass is simply a material's ability to absorb, store, and later release heat energy. Think of a large stone or a brick wall left in the sun. Long after the sun has set, the stone remains warm to the touch, slowly releasing the heat it absorbed during the day. Materials with high thermal mass, like brick, stone, concrete and clay, are very good at this. Materials with low thermal mass, like thin metal or wood, heat up quickly but lose their heat just as fast. A Russian masonry heater is, in essence, a giant, carefully engineered block of thermal mass. Its tons of brick and mortar act like a thermal battery. During the short, intense firing period, this battery is charged with a huge amount of heat energy from the burning wood. The intricate system of internal channels ensures that as much heat as possible is absorbed by the mass of the stove before the gases finally exit the chimney. The exhaust that eventually leaves the chimney is remarkably cool, a clear sign that the heat has been successfully captured and stored within the heater's core, where it can be put to good use. This stored energy is then released into the room primarily through radiant heat. This is the same kind of heat you feel from the sun or a glowing campfire. Unlike convection, which just heats the air, radiant heat travels in invisible waves and warms any solid object it strikes: the floors, the walls, the furniture, and most importantly, the people in the room. This is a far more efficient and comfortable way to heat a space. Instead of breathing hot, dry air while your feet are cold, your entire body and your surroundings are bathed in a gentle, pervasive warmth. This difference is profound. A room heated by a radiant source feels warmer at a lower air temperature than a room heated by convection. The warmth feels as if it is coming from within, a deep and satisfying comfort that warms you to the bone. Because the surfaces of the room are warm, they do not steal heat from your body. The masonry heater creates a stable, comfortable environment with no drafts and no temperature swings. It is a silent, steady, and incredibly pleasant form of warmth, perfected centuries ago and based on the fundamental physics of heat transfer. When we look at the numbers, the superiority of the masonry heater becomes undeniable. The efficiency of a heating appliance is measured by how much of the fuel's potential energy is successfully converted into useful heat for the home. A typical older metalwood stove might operate at an efficiency of 50% or even less. This means that for every 2 logs you burn, the heat equivalent of at least 1 log is lost straight up the chimney as hot gas and smoke. Even modern EPA-certified metal stoves, while an improvement, often struggle to achieve sustained real-world efficiencies much higher than 70 to 75%. In stark contrast, a well-designed masonry heater operates at an astonishing efficiency of 85 to 95%. This is a monumental difference. It means that almost the entire energy content of the wood is captured and used to heat your home. For every 10 logs burned in a masonry heater, the heat equivalent of 9 of them is stored in its thermal mass and radiated into your living space. This radical efficiency means you can heat the same space with significantly less wood. A family might burn through a third, or even a quarter, of the firewood they would need for a conventional metal stove. The real-world consequences of this efficiency gap are dramatic, especially in a survival situation. The family with the metal stove is engaged in a constant, labour-intensive battle to stay warm. They are burning through their woodpile at an alarming rate, forcing them to ration fuel or risk running out before the winter ends. Their days are consumed by the chore of cutting, splitting and hauling wood, and their nights are broken by the need to constantly feed the fire. The house is a place of extremes, scorching hot near the stove and frigid everywhere else. The family with the masonry heater experiences a completely different reality. They burn 1 or 2 short hot fires a day, using a fraction of the wood. The rest of their time is free for other essential tasks. Their home is filled with a steady, even warmth, from wall to wall and floor to ceiling. They can sleep soundly through the night, secure in the knowledge that the stored heat will keep them safe and comfortable until morning. The masonry heater is not just a heating device. It is a system that provides security, comfort, and, most importantly, time and energy. If masonry heaters are so remarkably efficient and effective, a natural question arises. Why are they not a common feature in every home in a cold climate? The answer lies in a combination of cultural shifts, modern economics, and the loss of specialized skills. The primary reason is convenience. In the 20th century, centralized heating systems powered by oil, gas, and electricity became widespread. With the simple flick of a switch or the turn of a thermostat, homes could be filled with effortless on-demand heat. This new paradigm of push-button comfort made the deliberate manual process of firing a masonry heater seem archaic and, well, pretty labour-intensive by comparison. Building a masonry heater is also a significant undertaking. Unlike a metal stove, which can be purchased from a store and installed in an afternoon, a masonry heater must be built on-site, brick by brick. It requires a strong foundation to support its immense weight, often several tons, and must be carefully integrated into the structure of the house. This is a construction project, not a simple appliance installation. The cost of materials and the specialized labor required to build one is considerably higher than the cost of buying and installing a prefabricated metal stove, making it a less attractive option for modern, mass-produced housing. Furthermore, the knowledge required to build a masonry heater correctly is a specialized craft. It is a form of artistry and engineering that has been passed down through generations of masons. A properly functioning heater depends on the precise dimensions of the firebox, the exact layout of the heat exchange channels, and the right combination of materials. In many parts of the world, this craft has nearly vanished. There are very few people left who possess the skills and experience to build these complex structures from scratch. This scarcity of skilled labour makes them both expensive and difficult to commission. Finally, modern building codes and regulations can present another hurdle. Inspectors and officials are often unfamiliar with these ancient systems. They may not have a framework for approving a site-built, solid-fuel heating appliance that doesn't fit into the neat categories of modern, factory-tested units. Navigating the permit process can be a challenging and frustrating experience for homeowners wishing to install one. This combination of convenience culture, high initial cost, specialized skill requirements, and regulatory obstacles has relegated the magnificent masonry heater to the status of a rare curiosity rather than the common-sense solution it once was. Building a masonry heater is a masterclass in thermal engineering, a task that demands precision and an understanding of how heat behaves. The process begins not with a brick, but with a foundation. Because a heater can weigh anywhere from 2 to 6 tons, it requires a dedicated, reinforced concrete slab to support its immense load. This foundation must be structurally independent from the rest of the house's foundation to prevent any issues with settling. This first step alone illustrates why a masonry heater is a planned, integral part of a home's design, not an afterthought. The core of the heater, where the fire burns, is constructed from special high-temperature fire bricks and refractory mortar. These materials are designed to withstand the intense heat of the fire, which can exceed 1,000 degrees Celsius. This firebox is carefully designed to encourage a very hot, fast and turbulent fire, ensuring the wood burns as completely as possible. Directly above and around this firebox, the builder constructs the labyrinth of heat exchange channels. This is the most complex part of the build, requiring meticulous attention to detail to ensure the gases flow correctly and efficiently. The outer skin of the heater is typically built from standard clay brick, stone or soapstone. This outer layer is separated from the inner core by a small air gap, which allows the core to expand and contract with the intense temperature changes without cracking the exterior shell. This outer mass is what absorbs the heat from the core and gently radiates it into the room. The exterior can be finished in a variety of ways, from simple brick to ornate tiles or smooth plaster, allowing it to become a beautiful architectural feature as well as a functional heating powerhouse. A critical component is the chimney and its damper. The chimney must be sized correctly for the heater, and a high-quality airtight damper is installed where the flue system connects to the main chimney. This damper is left open during the fire, and for a short time afterwards to allow all gases to escape. Then it is closed completely. This seals the system, trapping all the stored heat inside the heater's mass and preventing it from escaping up the chimney. This simple action is what allows the heater to radiate warmth for so many hours after the fire is long gone. Imagine two families, the Millers and the Kuznetsovs, living in identical houses in a region known for its harsh winters. An unprecedented ice storm devastates the region, snapping power lines and plunging their entire community into a prolonged blackout. The Millers rely on a modern metal wood stove. The first day is manageable. They keep the stove roaring, but the house is a landscape of thermal extremes. They huddle in the living room, sweating near the stove, while the bedrooms and kitchen remain frigid. By nightfall, the exhausting cycle of feeding the fire begins. No one gets a full night's sleep. The Kuznetsov family, on the other hand, has a Russian masonry heater at the centre of their home. In the morning, Mr. Kuznetsov builds a single hot fire that burns for about 90 minutes. The family goes about their day, reading, playing games, and preparing food on the heater's cooktop. Their home is filled with a gentle, pervasive warmth. The floors are warm, the walls are warm, and every room is comfortable. As evening falls, the heater continues to radiate its stored energy. The family eats a warm meal and goes to bed, sleeping soundly through the night, in a house that remains a stable 20 degrees Celsius. A week into the blackout, the differences become stark. The Miller family is showing signs of strain. Their woodpile has dwindled at an alarming rate. They are tired, irritable from lack of sleep, and constantly worried about their fuel supply. The house feels damp and cold in the corners, and morale is low. The daily grind of stoking the stove has become a source of dread. They are surviving, but they are not thriving. Their existence is a constant stressful battle against the cold, a battle they feel they are slowly losing as their resources deplete. At the Kuznetsov house, life continues with a sense of calm and normalcy. Their small, efficient fires have barely made a dent in their wood supply. They have ample time and energy for other tasks, like melting snow for water and checking on neighbours. Their home is a sanctuary of comfort and security. The masonry heater has not just kept them warm, it has preserved their energy, their morale, and their ability to think clearly and act effectively. For the Kuznetsovs, the blackout is an inconvenience, not a life-threatening crisis. Their ancient heater has provided them with true resilience. The story of these two families illustrates a powerful truth. In our modern world, we have often traded true resilience for fleeting convenience. The metal wood stove, a product of the industrial age, offers a quick but flawed solution to the fundamental need for warmth. It is a hungry beast, consuming fuel at an unsustainable rate while providing an inferior quality of heat. It tethers its owner to a constant cycle of labour and anxiety. The Russian masonry heater, a relic from a time when survival was not optional, offers a far more intelligent and enduring answer. This ancient technology embodies the very essence of self-sufficiency. Its incredible efficiency means freedom from dependence on a vast fuel supply and the constant labour required to procure it. Its ability to store and radiate heat provides freedom from the exhausting nighttime vigils and the unhealthy temperature swings of conventional stoves. It provides not just warmth, but security, comfort, and peace of mind. To have a masonry heater is to possess a reliable, independent system for sustaining life when all modern systems have failed. It is a declaration of independence from a fragile grid. We must actively work to reclaim this lost knowledge. The skills of the masons who can build these magnificent structures must be honoured, learned, and passed on to a new generation. We should share the principles of thermal mass and radiant heat, encouraging a deeper understanding of how to work with nature, not against it. By seeking out this knowledge, by supporting the craft, and by considering these systems for our own homes, we take a practical step toward a more secure and resilient future for our families and our communities. The enduring flame of the masonry heater is more than just a method for heating a home. It is a symbol of a different way of thinking. It teaches us the wisdom of our ancestors, the importance of elegant design, and the profound value of true efficiency. It reminds us that the most robust solutions are often the simplest ones, rooted in the fundamental laws of physics. In a world of increasing uncertainty, embracing this ancient life-giving technology is not a step backward, but a powerful stride toward a safer, warmer, and more self-reliant tomorrow. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more survival secrets and ancient wisdom. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Your support helps us keep the fire of knowledge burning.